Elevation Nation, what is going on? Today's a special day. You know why? Because we got another Terp joining the podcast, joining Elevation Nation, a really awesome guy who has been on a really, really cool journey post-college, but forget post-college. How about like the last year? Welcome, Tyler Swartz, the founder of Endorphins. Dude, we are so pumped to have you. What's going on, man?
Having a blast. Right now, I'm with my buddy Brandon, who just saw before we started recording, and
Shout
I
out,
can't
Maryland.
complain. Shout out Maryland. Shout out Terps. Go Terps.
Speaking of Terps, Parker sends me this profile a couple months back. He's like, yo, look at this guy. He's friends with our boy Matt Choi. Like, you got to check him out, right? I'm like, dude, I know this guy. How do I know this guy? It took me like 3 days to finally figure out, Tyler, how we knew each other. And it goes back to when we were youngins at the University of Maryland, trying out to be tour guides to represent the school, make a little money on the side, get to meet cool people. And I think one of the most amazing things about, our network, we said we saw Brennan earlier, that you're staying with him. And it's so cool when you get to come full circle and bring people back into your lives. And I'm really just excited and honored that you're here with us, man. And we'll get into your story in a bit, but thank you for giving us some time.
Dude, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chop it up with you all.
All right. Well, Tyler, I know you've listened to a few episodes, but it is Elevation Nation, so we got to start with the elevator pitch. Who are you? Everyone's got to know.
Cool. My name's Tyler Swartz. I'm a software engineer turned product manager turned consumer investor turned running. I don't want to say the word influencer, but I think that's what's happened. I just don't think of myself as one. I just think of myself as a guy that likes to run really long distances and record it. And right now, I'm on a mission to spread positivity and happiness through movement and exercise. And what that really means is we have a run club that I think might be the largest run club in the United States. We have chapters in Boston,
Wow.
Philly, DC, Chicago, Washington, Austin, having conversations with people all across the country. And this all started about a year ago when I started posting on TikTok, I was training for, and one thing led to another. I was like, hey, you all want to run with me? And one person showed up, 5 people showed up, 10 people showed up, and now we're here on the podcast.
We're here. Okay, I don't know why. The first thing that came to my mind, Tyler, was you remember those old school, I don't know if it was Nike or Under Armour, those commercials. It must have been like LeBron was like, hey, follow me. Do you remember what I'm talking about? There's an old school Nike commercial.
I think I know what you're talking about.
LeBron puts out some message and he's running through LA. First, it's like one kid sees him and he's like, I'll run with you, LeBron.
Yeah.
Then it's another kid. Then he's got this whole crew behind him. Like, I'm picturing Tyler, bro, like sending out a bat signal, and all of a sudden he's got this entire community behind him. Is that what it's felt like the past year, bro? Like, that's got to be a little bit of the feeling you have.
It is, but I think it's really different. I would never put myself in front of that group, and I think that's why what we're doing is really special. Is like, when I host runs, or Endorphins will host runs, and I won't say a word. We'll have other members of the group lead the runs. And it just goes to show, like, we're actually, oh man, we're going to dive really deep into this. But when we talk about community, I think the word community is just being overused left and right. Like, I've even used this phrase of like, it feels like, and you guys might relate to this, it feels like a football being tossed around in the front. And I think that's because people are gravitating to that word, but it's been devalued because a lot of the communities that we talk about, influencers or brands talking down. It's a one-way flow of communication. And to your point about that LeBron commercial, I don't see myself as out in front. I see myself from within. And I think that's what a true community truly is. And I think that's why it's so special. So I think we should overlay that commercial, but then can we move LeBron into the center of the pack? That's what I would think it would be like.
I
And can we
love
make
that.
it like Paul Pierce instead of LeBron?
Okay, so you're a Boston guy. I know that, right?
Boston.
Boston.
Boston guy. Boston, baby. Oh, man.
Okay,
I
so
watched
not the biggest LeBron fan.
I watched Paul Pierce and LeBron back and forth for 8 years when he was in Miami, when he was in Cleveland. So can't be LeBron. Can be anyone else.
Okay. I don't know. Paul Pierce, whatever.
Yeah, he has a really bad run post his NBA career, but when I was a Celtics fan, watching Paul Pierce play basketball was like, it was tough, but you gotta love him in those moments, and sometimes you had to hate him, but it was just like, it was like grit. It was pure grit, and yeah. But we can move on to the Boston sports stuff.
Listen, when Paul Pierce joined the Wizards, it was fun for one season, when it was like, wow, we
Yeah.
got Paul Pierce, but he's like 40, draining threes all over the place.
In the playoffs too. I remember that. I was at
Yeah.
those
Oh
games, I
yeah.
feel like.
Totally.
Yeah. It was sick.
All right.
But
Well,
we
let's move on from Paul Pierce and LeBron debate here. But Tyler, let's go back. You said a year ago you were training for an ultra marathon. Endorphins wasn't even a thing, and you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna just post this on TikTok, my journey," and like talk through that story of how it all came to be.
were happy to. I had just finished reading a book called Finding Ultra, which is Rich Roll's book. It just talks about how, regardless of what stage you are in life, it talks about the playbook towards finding like an ultra mentality. And it was really pivotal. And I think I read it at the right time. My friend Sam Tillotson put me onto it. And I read it. And because I was in this kind of growth journey of trying to find this new stage of how I could take my experiences running marathons and take it to the next level and then apply that to other aspects of my life, I was like, wow, this is really hitting home. Just finished the book. I just finished like an 18-mile run. I was feeling awesome. And I texted my coach, who's now the head coach of Endorphins, so we can come full circle on that as well. And I was like, hey, I would love to get into an ultra marathon. I got an email the next morning from a random race saying, hey, sign up for this 50-mile race. Without even thinking about it, I just signed up and I emailed my coach saying, hey,
Oh man.
I signed up. Do you want to coach me? And she said, you idiot, I put your name in 4 years ago.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So I signed up and ended up doing that race. And once I signed up for that, I felt like I should be documenting it. I was having this parallel trajectory of like, hey, I should be talking online. I want to like find a creative outlet. I don't feel like people our age or just people in general have a lot of creative outlets today. So I was like, how can I find another way outside of like cooking to have a creative outlet? And it just happens to be posting videos online. I went super vulnerable and I did it for 30 days. And the rest is history, I guess.
It's an incredible story, and it's just the start of that story. So we're going to get into all of that. But
Wait, did you finish the ultra marathon? Did you actually do it? Like, how was your time?
Yeah. So, okay. So we signed up. I started posting online. And while I was posting online, I started meeting other people that post online. One of them was Matt Choi. And Matt Choi actually said to me, I'll never forget this. And we've talked about it countless times. Every time I see Matt, we end up talking about something like this. He said to me, I must have had 300 followers at the time. He said, let's do a run in New York City before the New York City Marathon. He said to me, one of the most powerful things you can do in life is bring people together around a shared interest. And I had just hosted one group run. We called it TikTok Run Club. 50 people showed up. And he was like, dude, that's insane. Like, people with millions of followers can't get 30 people to show up in a room. And you have 50 people, you have 300 followers. Like, that's really special. So I leaned in. We started posting online. I ended up meeting a bunch of other people like John Sturvey, who's now the head of Endorphins Philly. I ended up meeting Johnny Davies, who's like the global lead of the Lululemon Ambassador Program, who ended up running the race with us. I met Terry Clark and Andrew Mogg. And we all basically met up, and my friend Alex Angelin as well, who isn't a creator, but is just an epic human that should be on this podcast. And we ended up running the race together. So that was all stemming from me posting online as well. And we had like a little TikTok cast that kind of felt like it was like Charlie D'Amelio doing the dance moves, but a bunch of ultra marathon was running 50-mile race. So that was in May, 3 months ago, and we did it. And I think like throughout that journey, we had crazy runs. We were doing, so I think like the thing that made me like popular online was I did this run with Alex and a few other people. We ran from JFK to LGA to New York Airport. It was 40 miles, and like that pretty well. We did a few other runs like that too. Yeah, we did the race, and it was awesome.
Parker, and I know he'll geek out and take this and turn this into a running podcast episode, which I'm okay with. But Parker's currently training for the New York Marathon, and we're really proud of him and excited for the cause that he's raising money for. So I might have to make you guys talk about that later, because otherwise I'm just not going to be in this conversation since I don't run. So
yeah, that's
sorry,
fine.
Parker.
Well,
Or we can just elevate you to get going, like get running, Sam, and then eventually,
I'm
next
not a
thing
runner,
you know,
I'm a boxer.
You'll be like me. You'll run a marathon after running 1 mile, like during COVID. Next thing you know, you're running. I'm going for my second one, not an ultra, maybe an ultra. We'll see. I don't know. You never know what's coming.
I never know, but Rocky was a runner, right? Isn't there that
Rocky
of him
ran a
running
bit.
through the
That's
streets?
true. That's
Just like
true.
LeBron commercial, Rocky running through the streets in the whole city of Philadelphia following him. So maybe
I'll
that
get
could be
all of
you.
DC to follow me. Yes. But we'll talk about running in a bit. I want to go back to a point that you said when you were doing your elevator pitch, Tyler. You mentioned about 6 different things that you were as you evolved. Product manager, engineer, now you're founder of Endorphins. Have you always kind of had maybe a loose path in your mind? Because many people our age, right? I'm going to be stereotypical to the young kind of male, middle class Jewish community, went to a Big Ten school. We kind of have maybe a dozen career paths that in our communities is expected of us. Doctor, lawyer, businessman. Was it always kind of all over the place with you of I don't really know what I want to do? Or was that kind of just what you fell into?
Yeah, I can answer that. And I think that's really perceptive. You can look at things 2 different ways. When I was a software engineer, most of the people that I surrounded with myself with said, get really good at becoming a coder and you'll be a coder. And I thought to myself, that's so wrong. If I ever want to be a leader at a business or a company, I want to get really good at every single thing, just enough to know that I'm not getting fleeced, that I could be dangerous, so I could manage people. Because I knew that if I were going to try and start something or wanted to do something on my own or just have a seat at the table, I needed to understand every single aspect of a business. So that's why, like, when I was first started getting into my career, like I was playing around with design tools, trying to understand like Canva and Figma, which is now really popular. I was trying to learn how to code. I spent 7 months after I graduated at an advertising agency trying to become the best Facebook advertiser. I did it for 7 months and I learned how to code. But I wanted to understand what like traditional marketing was like. Same thing with product management. I wanted to be able to interface with business stakeholders and engineers. And in BC, I wanted to understand the economics of the business and how businesses work from the internal. So I tried to learn everything before doing this. But I also think the word founder of Endorphins is really strong. Like I don't see myself as a founder of this business. I see myself as an organizer and letting the community kind of run time what we're doing and dictate what happens next. So yeah.
Oh man, I love it. So wait. So Tyler, did you always have this plan to like dive into here, dive into here, or you just, you know what, you felt like, wow, I need to learn this now, so I'm gonna stop this and go do this?
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily a plan. I think I was just really curious and
Okay.
to understand what was going on. And I think like I've always been really curious. Like when I was a little kid, someone tossed a Rubik's Cube to me and did everything to figure out how to solve it. And then I put it down and I found the next thing. So I think I was just really curious. I wanted to understand a lot of different things. And like I'm reading textbooks. I'm like trying to understand everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like I'm like just curious.
Huh. I love that.
Yeah.
It goes back to a thought I've had post grad to Maryland, which was I feel like if I had unlimited time, there are so many different majors that I'd love to study that I think would be useful in my life that I find interesting that we just never got a chance to do. And I think, Tyler, to your mentality is something that I've been trying to embrace. And honestly, what I think we embrace with Elevation Nation is we're all rallied around this mindset. I'm not rallied around just someone being an entrepreneur, someone starting a business, or someone being in the corporate world. We're rallied around mindset and always constantly wanting to grow and learn and elevate and become a better version of ourselves. And I think not everyone has that mentality, and that's okay. Like, I'm totally cool with that. Not everyone can do that and jump from one thing to another. But for the few that I know are elevators, yourself included, it's like this weird inherent, I told this to Matt, like when we met Matt, like I never met Matt Choi before. Someone introduced us, was like, all right, cool, we'll talk to him. Within 5 minutes, I knew that this dude and I, like, we were on the same page. You just get it. You get that, all right, I'm always going to push myself to do something different. go outside my comfort zone, learn a new skill, meet new people. And so I think that mindset is so aligned with how Parker and I have lived our lives as elevators and what we're trying to do with Elevation Nation, and just shed a light on some of these people who are living their lives in this different way.
Cool. Yeah, I'm aligned and I love what you guys are doing. I think I love being in the same room with people that are passionate about what they're doing. And that even speaks to what Matt said to me, bring people together that all love the same thing and good things happen. So,
All right, so let's bring it back to this massive, what you said, maybe the biggest run club in all of the United States. Is that true, or are you just making that up? Like, we got the
it's
numbers
really
down?
hard so it's really difficult to dictate. I think the main platform that people use is Strava. Then you
Yeah.
have like Nike Run Club or like Under Armour's app, Runkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Those run clubs or those run communities. Who knows? Then you have a lot of running communities that have been around for a long time that are mainly controlled via Instagram or via email. And again, that goes back to what I said before. That's a platform where it's one-way flow of communication. You have the leader or the organizer or the founder, whatever the word is, speaking down to the group. And that's great because you can disseminate the communications across the board. There's not many groups that allow the members of the group to actually control what happens next. And then additionally, I don't know if there's many groups that are in 6 cities like we are. So it's hard to say. There's definitely running communities that have huge followings on social platforms, but we have 5,000 members in like community with their email that actually interact with one another.
So on your Instagram, you have endorphins is more than a good feeling after a run. Endorphin gives you the energy that promotes a positive and happy lifestyle. You said you have 5,000 people that you know who are in your community of people who feel connected to endorphins. How are you sharing that message and that theme with all of these individuals?
Yeah. It's not only connected with endorphins, and I keep on saying this, they're connected with one another around this central theme of spreading positivity and happiness through movement and exercise. The whole concept is we've kind of built counterculture to running, and I'll try and remove running from this to keep it as abstract as possible, but it might be difficult. So bear with me. In the traditional format that people go about running is, and most things is about being really serious and going really hard, running fast or doing things really seriously. We are very different in the sense that we allow people to come together and take things as seriously. Our group runs at a 10-minute pace. For many, that's conversational, and that facilitates connection. It's a place for people to actually talk during the exercise, whereas if you're running much faster, like other running communities, it's hard to communicate until post-run before the workout. So it's like a hangout. It's because of that, people are able to talk and I always say at the beginning of the experiences that we host, if you've been here before and don't recognize anyone, it's cool to say what's up. We don't explicitly say like, hey, come and make friends, but like it's a byproduct of just doing cool things with people that share the same interests as you. Joy, man. Third time I've said it. I
It's
think you're muted,
nice
Parker.
when people have such a big influence on your life as a friend or a mentor or pushing you in the right direction. It's okay to keep giving him shout outs because he's been impactful in our lives too, and we love him. And if you haven't checked out his episode on Elevation Nation, we'll link to that in the bio. But another incredible conversation with another positive human being. It's a good way to describe Matt. He just radiates positivity. So, Tyler, I know you don't like to think of yourself as the founder of Endorphins. It's more natural. You're bringing people together. But that being said, it has become a little bit more formalized to allow more people to come in, to grow to other cities. And you are one of the key people behind helping that growth. And so I'm curious from your perspective, not as the founder, but as someone who's facilitating the growth of this amazing community, what's been a surprise that you faced on this journey that you were like, either positive or negative, like I did not see that coming when trying to just bring people together to run something that sounds so simple? I'm sure you've had some surprises along the way.
Yeah, there's been a lot of surprises, and I would say most of the experiences that I've had with endorphins have been extremely positive, like mind-blowingly positive. Um, we have people reaching out to post things and do things because it resonates with how they live their life. It's beyond, like, it is more than feeling after a run. It's a way of life. People identify with what we're putting out into the world, and they're putting in their Instagram post, which is wild. Like, that's a really strong sense of identity and belonging to our group. So like that's really surprising to me, and I always like have to pinch myself. Um, we're actually making an impact on people, and our goal with Endorphins is to try and make an impact on 100,000 people's lives, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. So yeah, it has become more formal, and there's been more structure, and there's been growing pains. But like, I want to be in cities across the country, so that way when people in New York travel to Philly or move to Philly, they have a place of people that are like-minded to hang out, and that's already happening. And I'm always blown away by that too. It's wild, really wild.
I'm just like picturing it like 10 years. Tyler can go any place in the United States and he's got like a massive group of people he can just hang out with everywhere. I mean, that's what I feel like you're trying to do here. Not beyond everything else. It's just literally you hang out, go to Dallas. You're in LA. You're in Denver, wherever is. I mean, I'm assuming that the community will continue to just spread.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I always try and think about like what this looks like in 3, 4 years, and it's almost impossible. But I do
Yeah.
see a world where Endorphins has a place in every state for
Hmm.
people to go and connect, find like-minded people. We're already seeing really interesting instances of this when we have races. For example, like the Berlin Marathon's coming up in a couple of weeks. We have like 50 people from Endorphins from different cities all traveling to Berlin. And at that event, we're going to host a run before the race. It's a 3-mile run, and there'll be coffee after, and people will connect with people from different cities. But the craziest thing is, we just talked about this. We have this general theme of spreading positivity and happiness and taking things seriously, but also understanding that it doesn't always have to be that serious. And because of that, we've think we're going to grow, and like those cross connections will pollinate everywhere. I mean, we're already seeing that. We get hit up every day. Can we be in Charlotte? Can we be in Nashville? Can we be in Toronto? I don't know why or what people want, why they want it, or what, like they haven't even been to a run, but they want it.
Huh.
And
Interesting.
it's because they see their friends from New York City or in Philly and DC, Chicago, Boston having these experiences, and they check us out on Instagram when we're putting good energy into the world. And I think when you put good energy into the world, it comes back tenfold. I think that's what's happening.
I want to comment quickly on, I agree. I think that is what's happening. I also think that post COVID, our generation of young people were so deprived of, and I know this word is overused, but I do truly believe in my heart that you guys are a community. It's proven, right? So I think I can freely say it. When we were stuck in our homes, for me, like our childhood homes with our parents, figuring out what the hell was going on in the world, then transitioning to remote work. I'm still working remotely. Some folks are hybrid and going back in. Like, our whole identity as a 20-something got all jacked up because we missed those opportunities to bump shoulders with people on the way to work, in the office, near the water cooler, at a happy hour, at workout classes, whatever it may be, and we lost that. And going from University of Maryland, college, fraternities, clubs, where you're so ingrained in meeting people, everyone's friendly and welcoming, you can find any interest under the sun and have a crew to do that with in school, in your little bubble. You're thrown into the real world and you don't have those opportunities to find those little niches of people that you can kind of lean on, these new friends. I think now more than ever, again, I'm going to say it, like, people are looking for that sense of community, and it's thrown out a lot erroneously because I think some of us have forgotten what it even means. We're just looking for connection.
Yep.
Right?
And
Interesting
you
points,
nailed
man.
it. You nailed
Yeah.
it. We're in a social pandemic. People are working from home. People are
Wow.
stuck in their
Yeah.
feeds. People are depressed. People have less friends. I like, from a business perspective, like, the problem we're solving is the social pandemic that we live in. And we
Hmm.
are just a place for people to come together in a non-drinking format and create real lasting relationships around shared interests. That's the secret. The secret sauce. It's not a secret, but that's what it is.
And the beautiful thing about it is it seems it's so natural and it's embedded in the core of what you're doing with Endorphins. I mean, you're not standing at the front, hey everyone, this is what we're about, blah 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 blah. It's more like people get it. They understand it. It's passed naturally and organically through a run, through a meetup, through whatever it might be that you guys are putting together. Tyler, I got another question for you. You know, you're a really impressive dude. I looked at your LinkedIn, among other things. You've done amazing things. You've started companies. You dropped out of college to do another company. You know, you're doing amazing things now, obviously growing and building the foundation of what Endorphins is. How the hell do you have time outside of work and Endorphins to be Tyler? And is that a challenge, or is it something that you just, it doesn't even faze you?
I think I'm being me in my purest form, which is the coolest thing possible.
Okay.
Um,
Love that.
you know, I feel like in my past career, I was really trying to be something that society wants people to be. A venture
Mm.
capitalist, a software engineer, a product leader, someone that's like in corporate America or like a cool startup tech dude. And like I wanted to be that because I think that's what society told me that's what I should be. But as I've become more vulnerable and put videos out there about myself online, I've realized the stuff that does well is actually me being myself, and it comes most naturally to me. Like I post silly things on the internet. I think that's what gravitates people to what we're doing. It's like, hey, you can go out and run 40 miles from Greenwich, Connecticut to Times Square or 30 whatever miles and have fun and be yourself and put that out into the internet, and it will attract, just like when you put energy out into the world, it attracts energy. Like it's crazy. And so now I feel like that was like an old phase of myself. I've said this, and this is like in the mission of Endorphins. When you align your energy with your heart, that's when good things in your life happen. And that's why we use these emojis. We use the lightning bolt to represent your energy, and we use your heart to represent your heart. And when you align the two, you feel endorphins. And like that is our whole brand. That's everything that we stand for. And I feel like when I was doing all these tech startups or doing venture, I had a ton of energy, but it wasn't where my heart was. And now I've combined this crazy optimism and energy and passion with what I truly love, which is running and fostering community and helping others, and good things are happening. Yes. So that's the story.
Nom nom
So
nom.
we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Tyler needed a break to eat the craziest sandwich I've ever heard of. What's in it, Tyler? What do we got here?
I don't know what's in it, but there's definitely Cheetos.
You don't know what's in
We
it?
got Cheetos
We
in
know
there.
Cheetos. I don't know what the hell is that. Chicken, it looks like, maybe. Bread,
Sometimes
obviously.
the best foods, you don't want to know what's inside of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Don't
was
ask
it
too many
called?
questions.
Fat
No idea.
Boy Slims.
Okay.
Fat Sal's. Not Fat Boy Slim. Fat Sal's.
That sounds. Oh, man. Gotta love it.
So, Tyler, we were talking about the intersection between your energy and your heart. And it reminds me of a quick anecdote that I'd like to share with you, something Elevation Nation is very familiar with. But when I graduated from the University of Maryland, similar to I think how many of us were feeling, to your point, I got a job that people wanted me to get, right? Big Four Consulting, threw myself in New York City, thought that that's what I was supposed to do to be successful as a young person, and was first time in my life depressed and didn't really know what that was and didn't really know that it was real. And it's not like I was seeing help or anything. I was just not happy and I was confused. And I was like, to be perfectly honest, I was like, holy shit, is this just adulthood? Because they both hit at the same time. Like my depression and me not feeling confident in who I was hit at the exact same time that I graduated college. And I was like, oh my God, is this just what life is for the next 40 years until I retire? And so I had a freak out. I called Parker, and that's really where the inspiration for Elevation Nation came from. Was I just wanted to be able to talk to people that I thought had their shit together to try to get me out of this funk. And so fast forward a little bit, we went out to Ocean City, Maryland. We locked ourselves when everyone else was vacationing and drinking and partying. Parker and I locked ourselves for a weekend, and we just tried to figure out what being a young adult was all about and why I felt like this. We came up with this concept that we love to preach. It's what we speak around the country on. It's called mental fortitude. And it reminds me so much of bringing the intersection of your energy and your heart together that I just wanted to share it with you. And so we think that mental fortitude is really the missing piece for young adults. It's the thing that many of us have within us, but don't really get it out unless we work on it. And so mental fortitude in our mind is broken down into three parts: yourself, your vision, and your fuel. And it's really knowing who you are at your core, what makes you you, your strengths and your weaknesses, and what brings you that joy, your vision of what you want for your future, whether that's to run an ultra marathon, whether that's to retire at the beach and be rich or have a comfortable job. Everyone has a different vision, and that's okay. We want you to find that. And then lastly, your fuel. It's what drives you and what excites you and what keeps you motivated and going. And so the intersection of those three things we call mental fortitude. And I think it's a very eerily similar story to you guys in combining your energy and your heart to give you endorphins. And so I love the similarities that you guys have. And I think if young adults can focus on figuring all of those out, I think everyone would be just a little bit happier.
Completely agree. Yourself, your vision, your fuel. I feel like if you know yourself and you have some sort of vision, the fuel should come naturally.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at you, Tyler, right? I'm sure you did some really deep work to learn who you were at your core, and you painted this vision of what you wanted to do, right? Maybe with endorphins or maybe with your life in general. And then to your point is like, I feel natural in this position, right? That's the fuel, is that you wake up every day, you're out in California in the middle of LA, meeting people, making change in the world, doing crazy shit. And it's amazing to see. It's been amazing to follow. I mean, I love the TikToks. I love everything about it. I think it's really cool when I see other people I know that I know didn't know you, but they show up to an endorphins run, and I still have to show up to an endorphins run. So that's going to happen soon. So I just love it. It's amazing. That's true elevation right there. That is true elevating.
You know, I feel like when you're a little kid, people say like, do what you love. Find something that you love to do. And like, I remember even today, I don't know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I think I am. But like, when you think of do what you love, that never hit for me. Never hit for me until recently. Like, are you guys doing what you love? Are you every single day waking up and doing what you love to do every day? Maybe yes, maybe no. But I feel like society points us in a direction that's typically away from where your heart is. So I encourage everyone to think about where their heart truly is and attack that. And it might not pay you, but you might be happy. And if you are attacking your happiness, I think money will come just because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But I feel like people attack investment banking because that's what society tells them to do.
Because money's first.
Exactly. And then people are depressed. And I think that's a huge screwed up thing about our society. So do what you love is real. I just don't think people have conceptualized it the right way. And they don't have the self or the vision. And they lack the fuel, and so do what you love, baby.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Loving the mental fortitude right there. Ooh, man, so good. All right, 2 questions before we get into rapid fire. Real quick, what's next for Endorphins? I know you're in LA doing some cool shit. And then what's next for Tyler Swartz? We got to hear both.
What's next for Endorphins? That's a great question. I truly don't know. And that's the coolest and craziest and hardest thing to conceptualize. But we do this thing where we do community votes every week. It's now becoming every other week, every month, or when the community decides. And what that truly means is we poll the community. This is my software engineer brain speaking. You poll your users before you build anything. Same thing with endorphins. Like, why would we make a decision without having the community's input? The community then elects what should happen next, and we do our best to implement that. So we get questions for the community votes submitted, and we poll the entire community, and then we take whatever feedback we get, and we build in that direction. It's a true community. Everyone has a say. And for that reason, I don't really know what's going to happen next. I can speak confidently that we'll have more cities, but like, who knows what, like last month, someone said we should do an ice cream run. And now we had a global ice cream run day where on Wednesday, every single chapter of Endorphins across the country went and got ice cream after their run. Like, you can't plan that. You can't make that up. So I have no clue what's going to happen next. As it comes for me personally, that's a great question. I think I'm like still trying to figure that out. And I think that speaks volumes to everyone listening is like, nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing. My parents don't know what they're supposed to be doing. Like my best friend, like my mentors don't know what they're supposed to be doing next. And I think people always think future, like down the road, like what should I be doing next? Like, I think Matt Choi might have said this too, be where your 2 feet are. So I'm just thinking about myself right now. Choi, holy cow! Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
It's a Matt Choi love fest, and I'm all for it. I'm fine with that. He's the
Is
homie.
that Dabo Sweeney? I think that's a Dabo Sweeney quote that Matt Choi might have said to me last time.
He said that as his mental motto, I think, on the podcast.
You're kidding me.
I swear to God. Or maybe he just brought it up. Sam, he definitely mentioned Dabo Sweeney on the pod.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Crazy.
All right,
Crazy.
so he's not just telling that to Elevation Nation here. Matt
I'm
Choi
glad
is
he's practicing what he
elevating
preaches,
with
yeah.
all these different mindsets, frameworks, quotes, whatever.
Matt and I have been through some like hilariously tough situations together. We just did this like race from Montauk to Times Square. It was 130 miles, and it was a social experiment more than a race. It was like a test of, can we throw a bunch of people from different backgrounds in an RV and have two different RVs of crazy different perspectives and have them race 130 miles. And Matt was on my team, so I did the graveyard shift with him at 4 in the morning, and him and Don Servi, and we just talked about life for 2 hours when I ran half marathon. So I've been through
Insane. And I believe you were with some other elevators as well. Liv Schreiber, was she with you at that event?
She was on the other team. Liv's a close
Boo.
homie of Liv's a close homie of mine. We're wildly different humans, but I think we're also wildly similar humans in the sense that she's bringing people together for belonging and social connection, mainly for females in New York City, giving them a place to make friends. Like that's what Endorphins kind of is when you think more high level. So she's a really communal person. I would describe myself as a really communal person, and because of that, we became super fast friends. Like FaceTime weekly, just shoot the shit.
She's a good one.
Yeah,
Love
she's
it.
a good. Yeah.
All right, Tyler, let's move in. We got some rapid fire questions for you. First thing that comes to your mind, no planning of any of these. This is why we didn't send you in advance. I want to ask you this. All right. Parker made fun of me, but it's the truth. I'm not a runner. Right now, my new thing is I'm training at a boxing gym. So I'm getting crazy sore all the time. My question for you, as someone who runs a lot and has done ultras, something way harder than an hour-long boxing workout, what is your go-to recovery method?
I have so many. One of my favorite things is like the cold plunge and like contrast therapy. People know this about me in Endorphins. Love going to the Russian house in New York City. Has anyone ever been there? No,
I've heard about them.
Okay, so we should go sometime. They're hilarious. They're communal, and it's a communal recovery. It's basically a bunch of people coming together. I have meetings there sometimes. We like shoot the shit and talk business, and we have this like it's an experiential meeting, and you also recover. It's like one of the hottest saunas I've ever been in. You need something over your ears. You see the videos of people with like the hats on, like you need it, or else your like ears and hair will burn. And then
Holy
it
shit.
goes into like extremely cold water, and like you get out, and it's like very euphoric. I love that. I try and do that weekly. So that's probably it. And also the Normatec boots, the Therabody recovery boots. And I use those very often as well.
All right, Sam, we'll have to send a message to Therabody for the arms for your boxing.
Yeah, my shoulders have been
Whatever
killing
it
me.
is. All right, next one, Tyler. Your favorite post long run meal. Go to.
I'm just gonna go with what I did a lot during marathon training. I have this salad. If you know me, or if you're like in my tight circle, you've probably had this salad or tried the salad. Really simple. Cucumber, tomato, onion, maybe a little arugula, maybe a little like slivered almonds, maybe a little olive oil, Celtic sea salt. I'll have that. I have that sitting in my fridge without the arugula and olive oil 24/7. I just like meal prep it. It's in a big bowl 24/7. I'll make some sort of rice or some sort of grain. I'll mix in whether it's brown rice or quinoa or farro. And then I would like have like 5 chicken thighs.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
All in
So
one meal.
that-
All in one meal.
All in one meal.
There's
Well,
like
you
pounding
have
an
to-
entire package of chicken thighs.
Yeah, so you have to, and if I was feeling really frisky, I would do rice pilaf. But the reason why, like when you go out and run 30 miles, I've run 14 pounds this year, and I've been injured for the past 3 months. So we were going out and
Wow.
running a marathon distance every single weekend. You burn like 2,500 calories. It's like 100 calories a mile, give or take, plus or minus. So you're burning 3,000 calories if you're in 30 miles in a weekend. Um, it's hard to consume 3,000 calories in a day, let alone in one meal. So like it was off to the races. We were finished the race, and then we're off to the races pounding food. So that would be my meal. You guys are looking at me like I'm whacked
I'm just
right
like,
now.
I am
No, it's
after.
reminding-
I was gonna say after a long run, I'm like Chipotle, something big time, and whatever. Maybe it's not the best, or it's got rice. It's got the steak, the chicken, I
I don't
guess.
think it's that bad. I just think like if you're gonna do anything, I think my three things that changed my life in the past 18 months. I've reduced drinking in my life. I've started making most of my meals. That's why like when I'm making a sandwich, like I'm puking inside, but I'm also loving it at the same time. Like if you can eat whole organic foods, you can reduce your
Yeah.
drinking and you can exercise every day. Like you'll be shredded. Like it will be life changing. So I like
And you
tried,
just feel
especially
good too. How about that?
yeah, you
Feel
feel
great.
good. Yeah, it's a byproduct of just looking good, I think. It's like there's a whole explosion that happens of like if you're eating clean, it's good for your brain, it's good for your body, then you have more confidence. Um, you might be able to see yourself and vision better, and you're eating more healthy fuel. So it's healthy fuel.
Oh no! Oh,
Yeah, I'm really spinning that one.
that was good.
So
That was
yeah,
good.
those are my three pillars, and that's what I would eat. We took that all over
Hell
the
yeah!
place.
Hell yeah!
It's good. It's much better. I'll tell this quick story and then we can move on. When I was playing football in high school, we had 2 days, right? And you're burning just disgusting amounts of calories and you're so hot. And I'd come home and I'd just be so warm, like my internal temperature from wearing a helmet and being in the sun all day. But I didn't want to have like ice cream or anything. Like you just worked out a ton. You wanted to feel good. I went through this very strange phase, like sophomore year, of eating like bags of frozen corn just to cool my body. Like I was like, there's no nutritional value. I just need something to cool like my insides.
I love
That
it.
That's so
doesn't
you.
make me
You
feel
bet.
like
You definitely
shit.
still do that too. Inside,
I don't do frozen corn anymore, but I do like corn.
You-
I mean, I am from
I feel like-
Chicago.
You like corn? We can overlay that TikTok too of the kid that loves corn.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good TikTok right
yeah.
there.
If we just have it, clip it, wherever
I'm
your
the frozen
producers.
corn kid, I guess.
I will also say I'm a sucker for ice cream. And when I was burning 3,000 calories in one exercise, and then you burn like 2,500 throughout the day, you can afford to house 1,300 calories of baked ice cream from Jerry's. So, like one pint, my PR is probably 3 minutes, just boom, in and out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
You're talking about run a sub-3 marathon, sub-3 pint. Try that. Maybe I'll make a TikTok of that.
That's
The real
good.
skills
I
right
love
there.
that. It's just like race. Oh man, that's great. All right, Tyler, last rapid fire, and then Sam's gonna finish it up with the mental motto. We ask every person who comes on Elevation Nation, who joins Elevation Nation, what is a book recommendation that you have that you're either obsessed with now or has changed your life in the past?
I guess I started with this. I'll just end with it. I said Finding Ultra. Rich Roll is what I kind of started this podcast talking about. It's one of those things where it might not be for you, but if you read it at the right time when you're marathon training or you're thinking about doing something really hard, any physical exertion, or you're in just a place where you're not feeling confident, I think those are awesome times to maybe pick up that book. Rich Roll, for those who don't know, is a really notable ultra endurance athlete. I'm not going to speak too much, but he had a period in his life where he had some substance abuse, and he found running and endurance training when he was in his mid-40s and changed his life. So it goes to show, regardless of who you are, you can flip the switch in your brain and it can connect. So
Anytime. You never know. It's never too late to use mental fortitude, to use your energy, to use your heart, and to find what you were maybe meant to do, a new passion. You never know.
amen.
All right, Tyler. Our last segment, something we prepped you for, something we love. Your mental motto. Every single elevator that has joined the nation has a mental motto. It's a phrase they live their life by. And it's something that Parker and I just absolutely love. We wear it on, we have some shirts now that have them. So they're legit. We wear them on our hearts. So Tyler, what is your mental motto?
I love the way you just teed that up for me. I feel like that was an alley-oop. My mental motto, and I said this publicly many times, it's not about what you say, it's about how you make people feel. People have really short attention spans, but people understand the energy that you're putting out. And you could be talking crap to someone, but saying it in a really positive way. And people probably will forget about the bad things you're saying. But if you're saying it in a really positive way and giving energy to people, I feel like we talked a lot about energy. They'll remember that. They'll remember the feeling that they had this conversation. They won't remember the things that you said for the most part. So I try and live that in the videos that I create. Obviously, I'm not talking crap ever. At least I'm not trying to, but like I try and get positive energy because people remember that. They might not remember what I said, but they'll say, hey, that guy Tyler, he's positive, or like that made me feel good. Same thing with the experiences that we put on for Endorphins when we host group runs. I try and be really positive and try and smile because people might not remember the little sermon that I give at the beginning about purpose or intention, the why, but they'll definitely remember that I've had a good time and I'll probably remember that. So it's not about what you say, it's about how you make you feel.
It's like the aura. It's like you're in a room, you're smiling, you bring the energy. You want to be in a room with someone like that. You want to avoid the people who are, not, frowning, looking down all the time, slumped over. You know what I mean? I love it. I think it's really good. I honestly, like, at work, I used to have a lot of trouble, like, speaking in meetings, like, right out of college. And I cared so much about what I was saying that it was, like, robotic in a sense. But when I got to that point, it was like, I feel like I can double down on just me being me and bringing that positive energy to the room. And then to your point, then you convey what you need to convey naturally, and more positively. And people agree, disagree, who the hell cares? But now they know me and my authentic self.
Yep.
Well, Tyler.
You got it. Finish us off.
Yeah, man. Well, Tyler, man, this was fun. I, just appreciate you spending time with us. I know it's been a few months in the making. We've had to push it a few times, but I just want to say, like, looking on the outside in, like, watching you on TikTok, seeing all the amazing shit you're doing and elevating, like, a tremendous amount is just so cool to see. It's really inspiring for me as a runner as well. Got to make it to an Endorphins event. It's going to happen very, very soon. But I just want to thank you and just appreciate you. So just that's it.
I appreciate you guys. I think this is really cool. Parker, I know we'll get you out. I want to get Sam out. We have a DC group. That's what I want.
Knee brace going. I'm gonna need a solid 45-minute stretch beforehand, but if we're
Where's
running a
that
10-minute pace, I think maybe I can do it.
I think you might be able to, and I think the group there is really cool. And I was on the two DC leads of Endorphins have a podcast, and I was just on there, and they asked me something similar. And one of the girls' quotes that I think resonates with everything that you guys are preaching as well is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If you cut that, if you want to go fast alone, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Damn, I botched it twice. All right, we got to cut the pod now. Cut it up.
All right, Sam. Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.